What is going on, everybody? What is going on? What is going on? What's going on? We are in the second month of 2021. It has been a crazy kickoff of the year so far, but we here, we living, we loving, and it's Black History Month. So, you know, anything dealing with loving on Black, I'm all about it. Black 365, 24/7. What's going on, everybody? My name is LJ Bones, and we want to welcome you guys to this month's edition of Art to Heart. If you guys are familiar with the show and then now coming back, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are tuning in for the first time, thank you for tuning in for the first time. If you guys are enjoying and want to be a part of this, by all means, make sure you guys are sharing the link. Make sure you're telling your friends what's going on. Get them involved in this because it's a wonderful show and we love crowd participation because I can talk all day, but I definitely want you guys to be a part of this wonderful experience as well. So if you are not familiar with the show Art to Heart, what Art to Heart is basically what it basically is come up to. So Art to Heart is a spinoff for a show I do here in Fayetteville known as Art Meets Life, where at Art Meets Life, we have an open mic along with featured guests, but with the featured guests, we do a Q&A with them before they do like a featured set. So this show is a spinoff of that. Now, two things we don't have on this show. We don't have an open mic list. We are not asking the featured guests to do any songs or poems or anything of that nature. This is strictly a 1 hour Q&A conversation with the artist and get to know about them, get to know about their work, get to know about their processes, their ups, their downs, trials, tribulations, what makes them the artists that they are, and just have fun and relax. So I'm glad that we've been able to kick the show off. I'm glad we was able to do a second season. We had a lot of great artists come up here. We've had actors, we had voice actors, we had DJs, we had wrestlers, we had poets. It's been all over the place. I love it, and that's what makes this show such a great show. So by all means, for everybody tuning in, thank you guys so much. And I know we're going to probably still have people that's kind of like tuning in throughout the interweb since the show is going on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and get into our guest. So our guest is a phenomenal spirit. I'd be lying if I say that I didn't miss this person. Like I have a great history with this person. She is phenomenal. One of the dopest smiles in the world, one of the best spirits in the world, one of the best voices I've heard in the world. And we're going to talk about all of that, the journey, everything she's doing, because there's stuff I don't know that she's been doing since she is no longer in North Carolina because she's all the way on the West Coast now. But we get to talk about that and we get to talk about some great stuff. So our featured guest for the night, the one, the only singer, songwriter, poet, and Jacqueline of all trades, Miss J. Claude. Woo!
Hi. That was like the best intro ever. I love it. I was over here like, don't cry. Don't cry.
Oh, man, I had a better one. Like I couldn't get into that because it's like normally when I do my deep dives is when I'm like getting ready to have you perform, but we're not performing tonight. We're actually just having a conversation, which I know for some people that's a good thing because sometimes you just get tired of like performing, especially with you because I know you had to do like a whole bunch of stuff today.
Yes. So, I was in the studio. Like, I was in studio. I literally just got home about an hour ago. No, actually like 30 minutes ago. Had to go. I was looking something up, and then had to go throw my face on. And I was like, okay, time to go.
Nice. So welcome to the show. I am glad to have you here. So what happens real quick? So what we do is we do a quick icebreaker, like quick Q&A icebreakers, like random questions you normally don't ask people during an interview just to like, get you all loose and everything. Now, I know you've probably done interviews before, but just for this purpose, little icebreakers to get, the calm and everything.
That sounds good. Quick question before we go. The link I have is not working. Can you send me one so I can share it just to make sure so a couple people want to watch the live, and I was like,
about the YouTube link?
You
talking about the YouTube link?
Yes, the live YouTube link.
Okay, so what I'm doing, if there are people that's watching right now that are fans of Miss J. Claude, I am going to try to post this as best as I can.
Cool.
But the best thing I can do right now, if anybody's watching it, if they go to YouTube and just literally type in Art to Heart J Claude, the video will pop up.
The video pop up. Okay, like the live feed pop up.
Yeah, because it's a lot. Yeah, or it goes like my name, LJ Bowens. The video will pop up because it's on my YouTube channel right now.
Got you. Okay, cool. I'll try to find it too while we're talking, so I can post it because I posted it on my Facebook. I was like, that might not be the one that's working. Oops.
Yeah, let me politic this real quick because I'm doing the same thing right now.
Right, we're kind of like we're multitasking because that's what we do.
Yes, I know, right? That's funny. So that's why I love the show because you can do all this random stuff.
We can do it all at the same time.
I know, right? So while we're doing this, multitasking, first time I've ever did this, like I don't do it already. So I'm going to ask you the first icebreaker question.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, first icebreaker question. If you had a superpower, what would your superpower be, and what would your weakness be?
Oh man! Now I'm thinking. Okay.
And I just sent you the link for the YouTube video.
You said you sent me the link?
Yep, I just sent you the link for the YouTube video.
Via Instagram?
Via Instagram.
Okay, thank you. I'll snag that in a second. All right, now let me think while I'm. Oh God, what would be my superpower? To be able to function for days without sleep. Currently, that's what I need my superpower to be. I need to be able to go like a full week. Like 5 full days, no crash, no burn, just working without the use of crack cocaine. No drugs, drug free.
Yeah, got you. No crack cocaine. Got you.
No cocaine, no crack or cocaine, none of that.
Yeah, cocaine's a hell of a drug. Got you.
From what I've heard, right?
So what would the weakness be then?
So if I could stay up, though, I guess my one weakness would be, I can't have cake. I feel like I'm Kevin Hart in that movie. I'm an emotional eater. So like I eat my feelings. So I feel like the trade-off would be if I could stay up that long, the only thing is I can't eat cake. Because as soon as I eat something like or sweet pastry treat, if I eat something sweet like that, I'm out. That's the weakness. Because by day 3, I would be like, I need something sweet. So I feel like that would be the thing. Like God would give me the superpower of being like, listen, sis. Like I don't know what to tell you about that whole sweet tooth. Like, why would you do this to me?
Oh,
wow. You weren't expecting that. I know you thought you stumped me, but no.
No. I'm not trying to stump you. Remember, these are icebreaker questions. We even got to the real.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you weren't expecting that.
No, I was not. expecting. I've heard a lot of people say what their weakness would be. I never heard cake, so
yeah,
I get.
Cake, so my friend, cake.
So
or a sweet pastry treat, something like that.
Or a sweet pastry treat. Got you. Cake or sweet pastry treats. Got it. So, what is your favorite word and why?
Oh. That's a good one. My favorite word. Geez, LJ.
I'm just doing my job. This is what I do. This is my job.
Favorite word. So a random word that I know. That is a favorite word of mine that I don't use, but I know it. Percutaneous.
what makes that what makes that even though you'll use the word, what makes that one of your favorite words?
Just because of the way it sounds. Wouldn't that be your favorite word? Percutaneous.
I'm not gonna disagree to that. I can rock with that.
I can't use supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. That one is not available.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot. I feel like that's not, we can't steal that one. So percutaneous is it. I don't have a rhyme or reason. I just like the way the word sounds.
Okay, I rock with that. So, with that being said,
oh God,
what is your least favorite word and why?
Oh. My least favorite word. Can't. Cannot. Whatever forms of the word. Can't, cannot. And why I fully believe that we speak our life into existence. Like we follow the path that our words build for us. And I feel like if we want to move in towards spaces that better serve us, into spaces that are brighter, into spaces that are just more idyllic for our lives, even if it's not an immediate, because a lot of times things take time, bridges take time to build, roads take time to pave. But even if you're falling, even if you're failing, train yourself to speak about your situation in a different way and speak about your dreams in a different way. And cannot be a part of the conversation, especially when you're talking to yourself.
I like that.
I can't do this. No, you gotta restructure this. I don't have the tools that I need right now to do this. So let me try to figure it out. I could be better at this. Maybe I need to take some lessons, or maybe I need, you know what I mean? Like structure it a different way, if that makes sense what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. I'm with you on that. So
my thing, yeah.
Okay. So another fun question of mine.
All right.
You are very, very artistic. You do a lot of great things. Some of those things you're going to get to shortly. But what profession would you like to do that is what profession would you like to attempt that you have not done before?
I would love to do, well, I mean, that's still artsy, but I mean, I would love to do like event planning.
Ooh, why so?
I enjoy creating things, and I like working with people, and I've done some small things before. Like I love design. I love picking out pieces. I love taking a budget and being like, I'm a very competitive person. So I like to be like, okay, can I take this $200 and do this with it? And then I like to move the numbers around and find the coupons, find the discounts. You know what I mean? Like I just like that kind of stuff. It's fun. So I think I would want to do, do event planning.
Okay.
Maybe. I know it's weird, but yeah, event planning.
No, it's not at all. Trust me, I've been doing event planning for years. So I get it.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun, and sometimes it can be a headache, but when you love doing what you're doing, it's a great thing. So last icebreaker question.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, last icebreaker question. Let me like phrase it up. If you believe heaven exists or you believe in a higher power, what would you like to hear that higher power say to you once you have left this mortal plane and elevated up to the next?
You weren't wrong, and all of it was worth it.
I like that. I like that. So I know, right? Icebreaker questions. We ain't even got to the full ones yet. I know it's like a lot of
I'm still waiting. Like, what he about to ask me next?
Hey, it's why we do this show. It's why
I'm excited. I love this. This is like okay, I like this.
I've been working. I've been doing my thing behind the scenes. So
okay.
So J. Claude. So now I'm gonna get into the meat and potatoes of everything. So a lot of people in North Carolina, a place that of course we met, and a lot of people know you from. A lot of people know you, a lot of people miss you. But you're on the West Coast now. We're going to get to that. But for the people that are just now seeing you for the first time, tell them who you are and where you are from.
Okay. My name is Jennifer Claude. I am a singer, songwriter, vocal producer. I do vocal coaching, but my meat and potatoes is songwriting right now. And I'm also a instrumentalist. I play violin. I am from Wilmington, North Carolina, a small eclectic city on the coast. And we have a lot of beaches. So I'm a beach bum. I grew up a beach baby. I love the water. Small place. Everyone says hi to everyone. We have sweet tea and, all your fun Southern things. I went to school at East Carolina University, home of the Pirates. Go Pirates. Woohoo. That's in Greenville, North Carolina, a place I had actually never heard of until I went to school there. I was like, oh, this is great. Where has this place been all my life? It's like about hour away from Raleigh. So it's cool. I stayed there for a very long time, and being in Greenville allowed me to just kind of network out, right? So I'm up in like Raleigh, Charlotte, Wilmington. So I was kind of like in the middle of everything. Yes.
That's what I want you. I'm glad you brought that up, because you're talking about all the things you do, singer, songwriter, vocal coach, instrumentalist. You play the violin, which you're dope at, and then you talk about from growing up in Wilmington up to moving to going to ECU. But at a young age, because you do a lot, you got involved with the arts at some point. So how did you find yourself getting involved with the arts in general? Because some people know you from music. Other folks, like in Carolina, like in a certain part, which we'll get to,
know me for poetry,
but they don't know you for like what you do. So
exactly.
How did you get involved with the arts to begin with?
Yeah, so when I was young, like it was going on my 5th birthday. Like I went through some traumatic things as a child that I won't get into. But it was really rough. And fast forward a couple years, I was in therapy, and the psychiatrist had, like, I wasn't talking. I wasn't, like, from the trauma, like, I wasn't speaking. I wasn't expressing myself. I went through this period of silence, which is hilarious because now I'm never quiet. It works out. But anyway, I went through this period, like, I wasn't talking, and my mom was like, something's wrong with my child, kind of thing. And the psychiatrist was really like, you should get her journals and like let her express herself. And the journals is kind of what started the writing portion, right? Now the music, and this is a 2-part thing because the music and the writing kind of came together. So the music, my mom had a stand-up piano in her house, and I would always hop on the bench and like just bang out chords on the piano. I remember I had this memory, like 3 or 4, and the first song I remember in my head where I was like, I remember making the connection. Like I can hear it in my head and I'm trying to get it out, if that makes sense, right? I was like 3 something. It was John P. Keith's Jesus is Real. Jesus is real. I know now those chords are really simple. Do. So, and it's recognizable. I remember getting up on the at the piano and like banging those chords, like trying to find them, right? And I think just moving forward through that space, my mom would always be like, she's like really out here, like, just banging around the keyboard, and she's a kid. So eventually, fast forward now back to when I'm writing, I just started putting the music and my writing together because I was writing poetry. Eventually I started talking, which is great. But by that point I had filled up journals and I started understanding how to put poetry together. I was getting poetry books and I just was a natural at writing. I honestly can't tell you any way. I would just write and it would come out the way it would come out, right? And I would listen to music and I would sit on my floor in my bedroom. I'm about 10 now at this point. I'm always playing the piano. I'm always hanging around with the musicians at church after choir rehearsal. I want to see what they got going on, learning. And when I would hear music, I would always just sing the harmonies. I would never sing the song straight. I would always be somewhere off. Like, this is not what the song is singing, but I want to sing this sounds right. I didn't know what it was, right? This sounds right. And I remember telling myself, like, man, I was listening to like a song by like Fred Hammond on my boombox with my tape. I had my tape in my boombox because that was it. I'm a 90s kid. And I was like, man, like, I want to be that person in the studio putting it all together. Like, I want to, because I would hear it. I would hear the background instruments and the tenors, the sopranos, the altos, and I'd be like, man, like, it's like a sandwich. Not like sandwiches. So I mean, that's really how I got involved in elementary school. My mom was so integral in just really supporting my art dreams. Like, she put me in plays. It was like anything she could find, I was doing. I started playing violin when I was 12. I really wanted to be in the choir. They didn't have any more spaces. I wanted to play saxophone. They didn't have any more spaces available. My plan was to play the violin and then move to something else the next year. Wanted to play the cello. All the cello chairs were full. I was like, this is stupid. So I was like, let's do this violin. Got the violin. And it was just like kind of a wrap from there. I got immersed in the world of just my music, my art, creating something, and the creation and just understanding, like, I can't explain the feeling, but it's in me and I have to get it out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, and of course, over the years you learn things, like you learn what to call it, you learn this, but at the age I'm at, I'm just like, I don't have a name for it. I just feel it, you feel it.
Yeah.
You do it. And so I'm thank God for my gifts and my talents. And then thank God for my mom and my family and extended family who, supported those things. You can do anything you want to do. You know what I mean? And so that's how my art came about. Like that's how, from a young age, that's how I started.
I like that. So we got 2 questions real quick from the audience. So the first question comes from Aaron, who says, who is and was your most influential musician?
I love this question because I get to talk about Prince and how much I did not get to work with Prince before he died. But I love Prince. Prince is like the consummate musician. You know what I mean? Like he literally learned to play he was playing instruments that weren't even technically instruments, but like he would go to some foreign country and it's something that they made in a village, and he's like, let me learn how to play this. Like, it's like, what? Prince is, he was amazing. His compositions and his passion for the artist. I think aside from his talent, I think his passion in the industry for really pushing the industry to say, like, you're using our art and you're prostituting it. You know what I mean? Like we are our art. Our art comes from inside of us, and he was just always so passionate about the art of the music, even though he was in the industry. And the industry, we'll get to this later, has nothing to do with the art of music. It has nothing to do with it. The music industry is a business, and it is what it is. But definitely Prince. He was amazing, and I have studied him. I learned so much. I still study Prince and his arrangements and how he would piece things together and his thought process about how he's doing his music. I mean, it's amazing.
Nice. So the next question comes from an Ed Owens, who says, since my question comes up, what ways do you use, what ways do you use to transition between different aspects of art? Like how do you transition between
Right. I understand that. Yeah. I do so much, but I have actually been very, very fortunate to fall into a space where like I use basically all my talents on almost an everyday basis, because I took the move to Los Angeles and I'm working for myself. So I'm a singer-songwriter, right? I freelance for a label. Like, for instance, I write for Atlantic Records, right? I work with them in some of their artists.
Yeah, go get to all that. Don't tell them too much.
But so like, let's say I'm working with them, right? So just as a writer, but then I might be in a session and it's like, oh, I'm doing vocal coaching by nature because I'm trying to get them to get the song right. And then someone will say, oh, like you vocal coach, would you vocal produce? Oh, you're doing that too. And then just for therapeutic purposes, I write. Like I'm always writing. I'm always filling a journal up. So even if I'm not posting or sharing, for me, that stuff never dies. Like I just submitted some stuff to a poetry contest a few weeks ago, because I was like, oh, look, there's a contest out. I have a journal full of poetry. Let me send it in. So I've managed to basically like just meld together all of my art into one conscious stream. And I'm able to utilize in multiple ways, and I feel very blessed for that, because I do understand that is the exception and not the rule, and I thank God honestly every day for my opportunities.
Good. So you're gonna be seeing comments popping up time and time again while we're talking, so don't
mind. No, it's fine.
So fast forward now, you're learning about the arts, and then you get to ECU, place I've been to frequently, went there a couple times, which is kind of how we met. So, while at ECU, tell us about the process of when you got to ECU, learning about like networking with the arts, and then at the time, I want to say this was one of the biggest events going on in the Southeast region, Spoken Serenity. Definitely let everybody know about that part of the journey and
like
where that took you.
college was so crazy. It was so great because I went to school for violin and vocal performance. And then I was also like pre-med and like doing psychology. I was doing a lot. As young, I'm also very ADD, and I blame my mother for telling me I could do anything I want because I took that literally and was like, I could do anything I want. Like, girl, you gotta have a focus. Like, let's anyway. So, she didn't give me the rest of it. She only told me that first part. There's a comma after that. You could do anything you want. Comma, you need to map it out, but I figured that part out. I'm just joking. I love my mama. I'm just, not blaming my mom for anything. To be clear, hello, internet, not. But so we would have spoken like poetry night. So hold on. I was in school for violin performance, so I'm actively doing that. So I'm already playing. I'm playing in the orchestra, and then I started playing in my city orchestra. So I'm playing in the orchestra at ECU. Then I'm playing in the orchestra for Greenville. Greenville actually has like a Pitt County Symphonic Orchestra, right? So I'm already doing that. That puts me in contact with some people on campus that I didn't know who were like, oh, and then I'm also doing praise and worship because I was a praise and worship leader at our campus ministries. So I'm singing. We have like underground praise and worship at night, which would be awesome. So I'm kind of connecting with people kind of like this, right? So this different avenues, and it kind of all came together because somebody was like, you should come to the poetry night and sing. And around that time, because I was in school, I went off to college in 2003. So Jill Scott was blowing up at that point, right? So Jill Scott, Flowetry, John Legend, like that whole neo soul vibe was like there, you know what I mean? That was all it was. That's all you heard about. And somebody, and I honestly don't remember who it was, somebody was just like, yeah, you should come sing at one of our poetry nights. And it was just like the student body poetry night thing. And I was like, oh, and I was like, well, I write poetry. I had never spit poetry. I would perform it. I would read poetry in churches and events, or my church events, weddings, but I had never done like open mic spoken word because that's a whole separate kind of vibe. And I went and I was like, oh, this is like that thing that like Jill Scott does, but I don't want to be compared to Jill Scott. I'm my own person. But I got up there and I performed this little piece and just like kind of sang a song, and people were like, oh my God, that's so cool the way you put that together. I'm like, okay, cool. So did a few of those, and then I got an invite to do Spoken Serenity, which was like huge. Was being run by Charmin Anderson, who is an amazing individual. Shout out to Charmin. I mean, honestly, she changed so many people's lives and paths and really just connected people. I think a lot of our relationships that we have still today were from that Spoken Serenity vibe, because it really put Eastern North Carolina, like, it kind of brought us all together. That's how I met you guys. And so many others.
Which is actually funny because I found out about the event through MySpace. I think that's how I found out about the event.
Are you serious?
Yes, because like I was this 2007 was kind of when I was like getting out of the military and starting to come up on my own, and then years later I started using MySpace to make events here in Fayetteville. I just happened to cross that event, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go out to this event and see what's going on and everything. So that's how I got it. That's how I found out about Spoken Serenity. So
that is so amazing.
But to definitely put clarity to the event so more people know. That was one of the biggest events, like one of the big events here in North Carolina. Like no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So
yes, definitely. So I went to that event and it was crazy. I mean, that event, I met you. I met Yogi at that event. Yogi with 2 eyes. Shout out. Cardi was not at that event. I met him at the next one that had come up.
I think you met Cardi either at Spoken Serenity or Illusions. It was one. I met
Cardi at Illusions.
Yeah,
but I met China at Spoken Serenity, which is how I ended up at Illusions. So I met her at Spoken Serenity. And then I ended up meeting Dasan at an Illusions. I met Boyce at Illusions, but that was further down the line. But yeah, I met you guys there. I met a few other poets. And actually Blues was at that Spoken Serenity. And that's how I met Blues. It was crazy. I got to see spoken word on a whole nother level. And I was like, this is like that stuff that you see on Def Jam, because Def Jam was also very popular back then. And, you know, still actually like, you know, the poets would be up there. Like it was kind of the first time in my life. I love you too, Yogi. It was the first time in my life that I had seen poets being treated like superstars. I mean, crazy. I met Life at a Spoken Serenity event, you know, and he was like, you know, because he was on the music side of things, and then he was coming in doing, you know, poetry. So he's already a superstar in his own right. You know what I mean? It was just so crazy. And I met Gemini, you know, it started just linking me with people, and we started traveling, and then I ended up having the opportunity to go to Southern Fried.
That's what I was about to get. That's the
yeah,
next
you know,
so.
Yeah, and me and Johnny Alfredo, we both were into ECU, so we were going to events and spitting together. You know, Rashida Waddell, shout out, you know, amazing vocalist, and is also an amazing poet in her own right. I think she's performed a couple times, but she won't do it, so I'm not going to put her on blast like I really want to. She's an amazing writer, and I want her to write more, but you know, whatever. Love
I hope you watch it too, because I agree with you.
Right, love you. She is like, one day hopefully I really want her to publish something. Her writing is nuts. It is otherworldly. It really blossomed, and it really took me to another plane, because I was able to. It was funny, like the question about how do you transition your art showed me that I could take my poetry and my music and put them together. And it takes me back to when I was 7 and 10 years old, when I was like putting my poetry and my music together. Fast forward through life. Oh, I can put my poetry. You see where I'm going with this? Like, you know, God was always showing me ways like, no, you can put your art together, because that is what literally art is. You throw it at the wall, and whatever you're throwing up there is your art. My proverbial wall is, you know, my talents and gifts. And man, it was a ride. There was like 3 years that we were everywhere doing poetry. Everywhere. Like, it was insane.
Yeah, I don't think so. A lot of people know now, like during that time, it felt like a circuit. It's like you felt like if you find out about a poetry event going on in North Carolina, like you had to go to that event no matter where it was at.
Me, Gemini, and Rashida had so many road trips. I feel we were like living off of like $20 and some hot dogs, because we in college, we broke, you know what I'm saying? It was crazy. It would be like, if Rashida had money, she's covering people, I might be spotting for later. One person gonna pay for the gas, the other person got food. This is when we were still eating at Applebee's. Like we gonna come at 2:00 in the morning because we hungry, because we done been in it. Yo, when I tell you, it was like just some of the best times. And it was like, by any means necessary, we're going to get to our event. You know what I mean? And all right, we got this event. And, you know, I'm prepping pieces. We're practicing in the car. Me and Jim and I would team up and do pieces. I would sing, she would spit. You know, it would be just the craziest things. And we all had our little pockets. Like, we would do our local things, and then the local things would all kind of meet up in one area. So then you got Fayetteville, you got Greenville, you got Kinston, then you got people, you know, got Charlotte, you got Raleigh. All the gang sets was coming in.
The poetry sets representing.
And then, you know, Solo, he was doing
the compound.
The compound. That was one. And we was like, Lord Jesus. Listen, we were so broke, but we made it work. God knows.
I understand. So with that, you were doing all these connections, making all these connections.
Yes.
And I hope I've told you this before. If not, then you're gonna hear it for the first time now. Like, I was blessed, along with Yogi with 2 eyes, because she's in here. We were blessed to have you be a part of the first ever slam team out of Fayetteville, North Carolina, which was the Fayetteville Fire. And
I'm gonna let you cry, because I have some things to say. I'm gonna let you finish.
But
that is such a good memory for me.
But like that was magical, because a lot of people don't I tell a story a lot now, because a lot of people don't understand like when it comes to slam poetry and why we did Southern Fried. Like, Yogi took that first step, and then Yogi came back with the idea of saying we need to put it together. We did the slam, and then we literally had a great team. It was me, you, Yogi, and Lady S representing represent the Fayetteville area. And just like all that magic that was made in Knoxville, and like you are a part of that history. Like I don't know if I've told you that, but you make up a big part of like the Fayetteville Slam history. And how does it feel knowing that you was like part of the first, like that first group of people to say, you know what, we're going to be this first team and we're going to go compete in this big festival, see what happens? Because another thing is we didn't know what the hell we were doing, but we went anyway to see what we can make happen. So
first of all, I still don't know how I made the team because I had never been to a slam. I had never slammed. I only knew what slamming was because I had to study it. Because I was like, well, isn't it just spoken? Wait, isn't it what we've been doing for this past year and a half? Well, kind of, Jen, but it's like more up. It's like it's elevated because you got time limits, and you could be disqualified for saying certain things, and then they're gonna judge you on the performance, and they're gonna judge you on how you say things. So no pressure, but all the pressure. And I'm like, ooh. Well, I mean, it sounds intriguing, so sure. And never thought that I would be picked, and then I was picked, and then I was like, I can't perform. I can't do that. Have you seen LJ spit? Have you seen Yogi? Like, have you seen Lady S? And I remember, like, my home team, like, my peoples, they're like, man, you're Phoenix. Like, you could do anything. And I'm all like, little old me.
See how it comes back? You can do anything. See how it comes
back? Right. Look, I done told y'all I hate the word can't. I'm over here like, I can't do it. I'm not perfect, guys. And this was a long time ago, mind you. I rarely say can't anymore. Very rarely. I got on that, and first of all, I was stressed because I just told you he was broke. So I was like, Lord, I don't have the money to do this. And then Yogi was like, we're going to put you on a payment plan. I remember Yogi, I don't know if it was you or Yogi, somebody, somehow some of my fees got paid and I ended up having to pay some people back. And I was like, thanks, guys. Like, this is my deadline. Like, I'm definitely not going because listen. So it was amazing. We had the best road trip in the world. I mean, ever in life. I still look at those pictures to this day and laugh. I went to the Southern Fried Poetry Slam, and it wasn't Knoxville. It was
Knoxville.
Oh, it was Knoxville. That's true. Okay, that's right. I was like, what is it? Knoxville, Tennessee. It was a life-altering and phenomenal experience. I mean, I saw and met. You remember those superstar poets I was telling y'all about?
Yeah, it was.
Jesus. I was like, I am not worthy to be sitting beside some of these artists. I'm just going to go back here and grab myself a sandwich because what, y'all want something? I'm serving food. I'm not performing. Cool. I actually did end up performing. I did very well. I did not move on to any other round. I got disqualified for something. I actually forget what it was.
It was a time penalty.
Oh, yeah, my time. And I do remember actually now because I remember crying my poor eyes out and Yogi just being like, it's fine. Like, it's okay. Like, you actually did amazing. And I'm just like, but I practiced for so long.
Yeah. Here's what's crazy. Because I actually brought this up on a show I did last year with CP Mays because we went against CP Mays.
We did. I remember that.
And the funny thing is, he told me that you didn't have nothing to worry about because things happened, but he said, you did good when you made him and his girlfriend at the time, but now his wife, Black Swan. Yes. They had to go outside and they had a 5-minute poem that they had to go try to cram and turn into a 3-minute poem to try to beat your poem.
Yeah. And I later found out about that. And I was like, I was at emoji with the little hands on his face. I was like, are you serious? I made CP Mays sweat? Yes. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't have told me nothing after that point. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, what? I am amazing. Whatever. And but it was such a great time. And I got to hang out a lot on that particular trip. We got to spend a lot of time with like Tavis. Of course, Booz was there. Wendy was there. I love Wendy. Shout out to Wendy Jones, who is she just needs her own separate segment. We got to give Wendy her flowers. Honestly, I've been thinking about that. I'm gonna hit y'all up about that actually later because it was on my heart a few weeks ago. Wendy has been, just so instrumental in a lot of things. And we've had a lot of loss in our poetry community over the past few years. And I think a lot of people have taken it, just kind of taken that on. And I'll move on from that point. But what I will say is, relationships were definitely built. And I definitely know that so many of the lessons that I learned, I have taken with me, and I will hold them with me forever. But going to Southern Fry was a highlight of my 20s, whole 20s, highlight. One of the best things that ever happened to me.
Nice. So here's a question. I think I myself could like this, because I remember when this happened, I didn't even know it was happening, but it was a blessing. And so seeing everything that you were doing at the time, all the great work you were doing still here in North Carolina. I don't know if it was like a big post, because people like do the announcements like after the fact. How some people be like, yeah, so time's up. I'm thankful for NC, and they already in their new state. But it came to me seeing the post, and a lot of people seeing the post about you moving to California. So explain that process and like how that came to be.
Oh, all right.
If you can.
I'm trying to make it concise. Okay. So in 2014, around 2013-ish, I just started having this notion like, I want to do this, my art, professionally. I want to make a living off of it. I want to live like I want to live, because I have fancy ways and I get it from my mama, because she's fancy. And I can't have fancy ways and be poor. But I'm going to be poor if I don't figure out how to manage my music in a way that makes me not poor. So then I was like, started learning about the business of music and seeing that songwriting is really amazing. It can be stressful, but songwriting is great when you can land placements for film and TV and they're called sync and licensing placements. Because you get royalties off of them, and the more placements you have, the more royalties you have. The more royalties you have, you got more money coming in, right? So I had a loose idea of that. In 2014, I quite literally made up in my mind. I said, I'm going to take 2 weeks. I'm a part of Ascap, which is the Association of Singers, Composers, and Producers. And it is it's a performing rights organization that basically goes out and collects our publishing money. So that's what they do. It's an organization that you're a part of. And if you're a writer, they go out and make, they get money for you for songs that you have put out. So being a part of that organization, they have events, because they have hubs. They have a hub in LA, a hub in Atlanta, a hub in New York, and they have events. And they'll be like, if you're a member of Ascap, you can come to an event. And this event was called the Ascap Expo. It was happening in LA for a full 4 days. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to save my money. I'm going to go. I decided, though, I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to stay for 2 weeks, and I'm going to try to book studio time. I'm going to try to just network. I'm a social butterfly. I can meet somebody at a gas station and we're best friends by the time I'm done pumping gas. So if I can do that, I'm going to take that gift and spend it to try to figure out what I want to do, because I don't know what I'm doing. Went to the expo. That was amazing. I started networking. At the expo, I met some people, and I had reached out to my then manager and was like, I'm trying to get into a studio. I want to record while I'm out here, right? Because I want to connect. She managed to get me into Paramount Studios, which was the very first place I actually had my an official studio session. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, the Paramount? Are you kidding me? So I went there, like Mary J. Blige is like upstairs, somebody else is downstairs, and I'm in the middle room. And I'm like, and actually the rooms are floors. So I'm like, this is insane. The engineer that was assigned to me at the time, super amazing individual. He actually taught me everything I know about cutting records and things of that nature. He taught me so much of the business over a course of like 3 days. And at that moment, I was like, I have to come to LA. Like, I have to be here because this is what I'm going to do. Got a lot of stuff done, blah, blah, whoop, woo. Fast forward. Boom, this is 2014. So we are in 2018. And a lot of things were going on in my life that were no longer serving me. And I was in a very just tumultuous time in so many different aspects. And I just stopped and kind of looked at my dreams and was like, if I don't do something about what I want to do now, I'm never going to do it. And I didn't tell my mom or anything like what I was thinking about. I started applying for jobs, and it was desperation because I was applying. Like, I was thinking about accepting a job in Chicago. I was like, the Chicago music scene is popping. Like, cool. I don't really want to be shot because the area I was looking at was a little rough. I was like, I just feel like I need to find out where, white folks are and go be there. So I was like, Chicago was kind of lower on the list. But I started praying about it, honestly. And I was like, God, this is something that I really want. I really want to be in LA. And nothing was open. And then a job popped up, and it was a job I was looking for, the money I was looking for. They were willing to give me a lot of things that I needed to relocate. And I was like, yes, I'm gonna interview. I'm gonna take it. I interviewed a few times. They offered me the job, and I was like, okay. I still didn't understand what was happening. I was just like, I'm just going. I'm going to do it. I'm moving to LA. Like, I'm moving. I'm out of here. I sold all my stuff, just about. Packed 2 suitcases, grabbed my Tigger, and booked a one-way flight. And I called my mom to tell her, like, Mom, I'm moving. I'm going to California. I got a job. I can take care of myself. I'm not going to be on the streets, but I have to do this. And I thought, of all people, that my mom was going to be like, you can't go to, like, you can't leave me and go to California. I just knew my mom was going to have more reservations. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, my mom said, if you want something that you haven't had, you got to do things like you never done, essentially something that along those lines. And then she was like, you can't stay where you are forever. If you don't try, like, you'll stay stuck. And I know it was the hardest thing probably for my mom to tell me that it was okay, because I know I'm an adult and I wasn't looking for her permission because I had already bought my ticket. So I was like, but you know what it is? Like, you need that. I hate to say validation, but the blessing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And my mom, because my mom, me and my mom are close. My mom is very attached. I'm her only child, obviously. So she's obviously attached to me. For her to be like, I'm going to send my child out here into this wide open space, my little country bumpkin of a child who talks to strangers and, has no sense of urban city living. And she wants to feed all the homeless people. Can't do that in a place like LA, Jennifer, and I'm sending her out here into the world. And I know that it was difficult for her, but it was really like confirmation for me. And I didn't tell many people. It was less than 5 people that knew. And I posted it on social media, possibly a month or 2 months after me being there. I was like, I should post this. Because I believe that people don't always wish you well, especially when you're doing something for a purpose. And it was a very hard transition. I went by myself. I knew 3 people. Three. Where's my camera? I knew 3 people. Right there. And it was me and my Tigger. And I was, other than work, I was very alone. And, God is just so gracious, though, honestly. My transition did not go how I thought it was going to go, but it went. Even through the bad, it was better than I ever expected or imagined. I'm so grateful for my opportunities because it took me jumping off the cliff and building my parachute on the way down to really see more of my potential and to really just see, like, what did I say earlier? I could do anything. Like my mama told me when I was little, you could do anything. And I built the parachute on the way down. I managed it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's just we've been rocking from there.
Man, you give it a whole word right now. So much so that a brother of yours said, "Amen."
Cardi, one of my favorite people in the world, and my birthday twin. Hello, birthday twin.
All the way. He let you know he's still in Thailand right now.
He ain't coming back.
I don't even know what the time difference is right there, but the fact that you're up watching this,
right? I appreciate you. Right.
So, fast forward to now. I don't know how much you can tell me or tell us, the audience, but singer, songwriter, vocal coach, vocal producer.
Yeah.
What projects have you worked on, and is it possible to say if or if not you've worked with certain people in the industry? And I know you mentioned, you kind of tapped on it earlier, but you was talking about how the industry itself is not what people think. So can you explain a little bit about that as well?
Yes. Okay, cool. So as far as a lot of the projects I worked on, more of the things that I've done have been I've done working with Atlantic Records. A lot of that has just been like submission work, so writing for artists and then seeing if it makes the album. Being a songwriter for artists is can be difficult, because when you're working with artists who are signed to a label, you can write a song and the artist can like it all day long, but the artist has to like it, then they have to cut it, and then the label has to approve it. Like, we like this. And then it goes into a pile of songs that then are looked at for an album. And then it might not make the album. So there's so many steps to like completion. And a lot of times these artists will cut 100 songs just to have a project on it with 10 records. And it's just like, the industry is a whole lot of hurry up and wait. It is also a whole lot of just throw things at the wall, be involved in as many projects as you can, because you never know what's going to stick and what's not. One of my biggest accomplishments was having a song that I wrote land in a show. Well, it was a movie that is now actually being produced into a show for BET, which was called Sacrifice. It was a Paula Patton film. I was like, even though like it was a very long connection, but I made it and I'm going to stick with it. I was like, me and Paula Patton are now officially like soul sisters, because I was a part of her movie. I was very far removed from being a part of her movie, but my song made it into her movie, and me and Paula Patton are best friends. I don't care. It's great. Right. You know what I mean? We're best friends. And it's crazy because it was like 15 seconds of the record that was playing in the background when they were sitting in the living room talking. And it's like, you got to turn it up. I'm like, that's my song. Rewind it, turn the volume up. It was such a very, very tiny place, but it was such a big accomplishment, because just to have that 15 seconds was hell on earth. It is so much to get even just 15 seconds. You know what I mean? It is so much to get placements. It is so much to be able to just have something that you can say, I accomplished, I did. I've also been doing some executive production work, which means like I have a team. I have some producers and engineers and musicians I work with. So there is a streaming service out now called Urban Flix. It's a really amazing.
Yes, I heard of Urban Flix. Yes.
So I actually did their opening music. So I was hired by them to put their music together. So I produced that, which is nice. So when you pull up the app or whenever you see their commercials on any sites or anything, that music that's playing, I did that. So that was such an amazing opportunity. And, that has opened more doors for me to be able to do executive production work, like putting music together. And that's the space I want to be in. Like, being an artist is cool, but I'm already an artist, like I could go down to Target and start singing and boom, throw some coins in the hat for me. Excellent. But my goal is just the production and being behind the scenes. Like, I want to write the songs. I want to put the music together. I want to create a beautiful work of art and give it to you, So right now, my writing and my focus is writing for artist placement. But the bigger part of that focus is writing for film and TV placement. So, had a few small things. I had a record that landed on World of Dance, which was the Jennifer Lopez's World of Dance reality show. That was cool. That was some years back. And a few other things. And so it's just kind of like stacking my resume. Everything else that I'm working on, I really can't talk about. So, you'll hear about it when I make announcements. That's cool. And then just very quickly, as far as with the whole industry thing, like I was talking about, the music business and the business of music are two separate things. It is the actual, the music industry is a machine. It is about business. It is about numbers. It is about where those numbers are coming from. It is a black and white at the end of the day. They don't care anything about your creativity. They want to know what the bottom line is. What does this artist bring? Oh, they can sing. There are so many talentless people who are so big out here in LA because they are influencers. They had a bag of money and they went and got their body done and then decided, hey, I've always wanted to be a rapper. And now I have shoved fat into my butt. And so, you know, I look amazing. I'm an Instagram model. I have 50 million followers and then, you know, 100 billion followers on TikTok. So let's put some bars together and get some production on it. And now I have a deal because I'm amazing and I look great, but don't really have a lot of talent, but it's cool. And I'm not saying that in a shady way. I'm saying that that's literally how the industry will see it. Like, talent is like on the bottom of the list of qualifiers, if that makes sense, you know?
No, it makes all the sense in the world.
So the business of music is really, if you're an artist and you're interested in being in the music industry, you have to create a space of success. You have to identify what success is for you, because your success may not be your next person's success. I recently saw somebody get signed to a major deal with a major company. It was actually, I think it was like Warner. And he got walked into that deal by a friend that they had, like, they were hanging out one weekend. He started producing beats a month ago, a month from the conversation, a month ago. He was just like, it's something I want to do. And he wasn't great at it, but it was okay, cool. And he got walked into a deal because the guy was like best friends with somebody who was like an inside man, and they signed him to a deal. Crazy, right? And then you got a person out here who's been working. You got a producer out here who's been working since he was 12, you know, and has amazing music, has placements with big artists, and still can't get a deal. It blows your mind sometimes. I'm just like, wow. So you have to find a balance. And I always would tell people, you know, if it's something you want to do, find balance, because there's also multiple streams of income in music. There's commercials, there's placements, there's voiceovers, you know, there's a lot of things to do. Everyone just thinks about being an artist. You know, there's other things. So yeah, the business of music and the music business, two separate animals.
So I have 2 more questions for you, but here's another question from somebody in our audience. Yes. Any advice for someone who may be looking to follow your jump?
Oh, don't follow me, but don't do that. Whew, child. I wouldn't follow me. If I had to do it over again, I'd be like, listen, sis, we could have done, you know. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So advice, if I had to give advice for somebody who was trying to follow their dreams and follow what they want to do, I would honestly say, you know, having a mentor is great. Figure out what it is that you want to do, just kind of like from the basis of it, and then try to get involved with it and create quality connections as best as you can. And just take things one step at a time. And don't be so hard on yourself, because your thought process might change. You might start doing what you think you want to do, and then you get introduced to something else. Like, oh, that's cool. I never knew that was a job. I kind of want that job now. Like, for instance, with me, I'm a songwriter, but I discovered that I really like music supervision. So that is now a goal of mine. I want to evolve my career into being a music supervisor. That's what I want to do in my 40s. A music supervisor is the person who places songs in movies and television shows, for anyone who's wondering. But I didn't discover that until I started writing songs for film and TV. And then I realized, like, oh, that's a really cool thing to do. Awesome, you know? So, yeah, just creating a plan and just connecting with people and doing your best to network, even though we're in COVID. There's still lots of things going on, like via Zoom, and, you know, look out for artist connections. I would suggest checking out ascap.com. They have a lot of good information on there. You can actually sign up if you're a writer. It's like $50. It's a one-time fee, and you will get emails from them. Ascap literally sends out stuff to you every week, and it's talking about writing, artistry, musicianship. They have links to resources. That's a great first place to start, and then just kind of like start moving from there. It's a big game of networking, honestly.
Dropping jewels.
And believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Don't tell yourself you can't.
Yeah, you can do anything. That's the theme for the night show. You
That
can do
is my
anything.
theme. You can do anything.
So, last 2 questions from me.
Okay.
I always ask this because I hear people say that they know it's going to be in their heart. I hear other people say you never have a blueprint or even plan on really doing this because it just so happens. And then I'm reminded of the movie Soul. So if anybody's seen the movie Soul, which is a Disney movie, there's a part where the main character just gets done playing a set, and it's like towards the end, right. And he has a discussion with the woman he's been wanting to play with.
Yeah.
And he says, "This is what I thought I was going to do." I'm going to leave it at that. If you've never seen the movie, you need to go see the movie and you'll understand why I'm asking this question. So the question is, when you first started doing the arts, when you knew you start loving the arts, having appreciation for the arts, did you ever see yourself going this far with it being a career and like embracing it? Did you ever see this as this is what I want to be no matter what? Like there is no other thing, or did it just so happen to evolve to where you're at now?
That is a great question. And my answer is 2 parts. Well, it's actually my answer just has a comma in it. Yes, I always knew I would be doing this, comma, I had no idea how. I have had dreams of me being on stage and singing with this and this person and doing that and, accepting awards. And I would have these visions and I would be like, little old me, like, how do I do that? And when I was growing up, I love music, don't get me wrong, but I was on track to go to school, to go to med school, to be a doctor, because that's what you do. My mom would always tell me, you get your education and being a doctor is safe. It's safe. It is, you have a lot of debt, but somebody's always going to need a doctor. And as long as you don't kill nobody, you always gonna have a job. And actually, if you kill a person, you got a good lawyer and a good insurance plan, and you could probably still be working. So, being a doctor is pretty safe. And then even if you could probably move to the Dominican and still have a job. You will always be needed. And little old me growing up, I was such a weird kid. I didn't fit in with anyone. I was made for, I was picked on incessantly. It was crazy. My childhood, I don't want to use the word painful. It built character. I definitely have some beautiful memories from childhood, but it was a lot. I was picked on so much for just not fitting in. So my love for art and my love for music kind of got squashed a little, just like I tucked this in and hold on to it. And then I got to college and found poetry. Well, I was always a poet, but found spoken word. And if you would have asked me then how I would have gotten like my road to where I am now, I would have never been able to tell you. God writes some of our best stories. And I can honestly say the things that I'm experiencing, I've spoken into my life and they were spoken over me. I would never in a million years conjure up. I would never be able to just think of, yes, I'm going to do this and then do this. And then, no, I had no idea. But I always knew that this is what I would be doing. I always knew that I would wake up and be able to say, I'm living my dreams. And it is 6:37 p.m. on a Saturday, February 13th, here in 2021. And, I'm going to start tearing. I got to get my life together. But I can honestly say, like, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I was in the studio yesterday. Like, I've been in the studio all week working. I wake up every day and I do the things that were in my heart. Some of the things that I was afraid to say to people because, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
The things that you are afraid to say from your heart because they sound crazy. You can't do that. No, I'm from a little beach town. But what did my mama tell me? My mama said, you can do anything. And, you know, I haven't written a song for Beyonce yet. That's coming. But those are just steps.
Throw that in there. Throw that out there. Throw it out there.
Those are just steps up. Those are just steps further. But I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful for my life. And I'm so thankful for my opportunities, because I don't have all the things that I might want, you know, like tangibly, but I am so rich in art. I'm so rich in heart. I'm so rich in love. I'm so rich in favor. And everyone doesn't have the opportunity. People leave this earth and never do the thing that's in their heart. You can do anything. And I am living proof. Living. I'm alive. So that would be it. Okay, this is like too much.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Man, it's my beautiful story. Like, I think so. Before I ask this, I got two more questions. One,
Yes,
then last question, and then. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there in the atmosphere, because I'm thankful that you're here, because a lot of people don't know that. So when we kind of got in contact, like recently, I just literally stumbled on your page and I was like, "Hey, you should come on my show." And then you was like, "When is it?" You're like, "When is it?" Yeah, you're like, "When is it?" And I was like, "Oh, you know, we can do it in this month, but if you want to do it sooner, we can do it sooner." Right. I don't believe in coincidences. I think you were meant to be here, because like you're giving a whole word to something a lot of people probably in this audience needs to hear, myself included. Because I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand too. Like it's so much that as an artist we go through, especially like going through the times we went through, like the moments we shared just too long ago about Smoke of Serenity.
Yeah,
everybody, like you look at how what everybody is doing now. And it's all because of, like you said, you can do anything, and there are always hardships, but you still push through, you still make things happen. And I think, like with the questions Ed was asking, like, how do you, any advice you got? And like, you've been giving so much sound advice. And I know it sounds like I'm just being like out there when people are looking at it, I'm just saying dropping jewels. When I'm saying that, it's because I mean it. Because like a lot of people don't know like what the artists go through, or like the story. And you're giving literally like a testimony of doing everything. It is a beautiful thing. So do not feel ashamed crying on this virtual stage. You're perfectly fine. We love you, and that's why I'm glad you're doing this, so everybody can hear it. And I'm keeping them post up all these beautiful things that people are saying.
Oh my God. Thank you guys. I see the comments. Thank you.
So last two questions from me. One is going to be another personal question, and the other is going to be and the last question is going to be a promotional question.
Okay.
So the last personal question: what is one thing people can expect when they meet J. Claude for the first time?
Oh my gosh. I'm loud and I talk fast and I laugh a lot. And I'm usually really awkward too. So the Jennifer that you get is always going to be the Jennifer you get, unless I'm hungry. Then I might be hangry, but then we can go grab some food and I'm back to being happy again. And so I get told that I'm bubbly a lot. That's actually been something I've heard since I was a kid. And again, to attest to it, my mom can tell you I talk to strangers. Not on purpose. People just talk to me and I'm like, hey, you know, like what the? Literally.
I love it. That's why.
I mean, that's what people can expect. You know, I'm always gonna be myself. I'm gonna be loving because I'm a loving person. So, and I accept snacks. So you know, don't bring no snacks from home. No, I'm just kidding.
So, last question, the last official question. I've been posting it already during the show, but I want you to kind of talk about it a little bit. You have a single that's out.
I do. Yeah, I have a song.
And I actually used that for when I did the quick IG story, because the great thing is I found out that your music was on there, and I can use your music for when I'm doing my IG stories now. So I'm gonna try to do that a lot more often. So tell us about the new single that you have out.
Yeah, so I have a single. I actually dropped the single like a year ago, but it's out. I haven't dropped another one, so there you go. But it's called Bad at Love. You can find me on all streaming platforms, Jennifer Claude. I actually have a couple on Spotify. There's a couple poetry pieces up there. There's a single I did in 2014 2015 called Beautiful Day. But then this is my first, like, I guess, industry single, but it's called Bad at Love. It's out streaming. I released a record at Christmas too. So I did a little Christmas record. That was nice. But you can find me across all platforms at imj.claude. So it's IAMJDOTCLAUDE. So every platform, whether it's SoundCloud, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Don't go on my Twitter. Facebook, Twitter. I be ranting on Twitter. So that's just, I'm like, when I'm in my feelings, I go to Twitter. Matter of fact, I probably should start just to now that I said don't go to my Twitter, I probably should. Everybody's like, what is she saying on Twitter? Like, Twitter is like my online therapy space. I just be on Twitter, like, 4:00 in the morning, crying, upset, mad, stressed out, like, and then they took away the 40 characters. So I'm like, yes, let me talk about all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, IMJ.Claude across all platforms.
Awesome. So I am going to make it my personal mission next time I come to LA to look for you, because I came to LA. I came to LA not last year, but the year before.
Really?
I did.
Wow.
So this is what happened. I'm going to put up here so I came out there because one, the wife wanted to just come out there. She had family in San Diego, but we stayed in Anaheim, so so that way we can drive to LA and then we can drive to San Diego.
Yeah, I love San Diego. Yeah.
But we also came out there because I'm friends with Tony Todd. So we went out there and kicked it with him. So I know next time I need to make sure I catch up with you next time I'm out there. Yes, I feel bad. So
there's a huge poetry night that happens in LA, like really big.
Yeah, the poetry lounge.
Right.
I ended up winning a slam that time I came.
Yes.
I ended up slamming. I ended up winning.
And it's shut down right now because.
Yeah.
Nice. You won the slam?
Yeah.
Oh.
I came out of retirement just to do the slam because Cuban.
And you didn't invite me? Oh my God.
I didn't. Look, my whole thing was I was going to support, and then they end up throwing me in a slam.
I got you. Yeah, when I first moved here, I reached out to Cuban, and then because I was working so much, and at the time I was actually farther away from LA, like I wasn't living in the city, and I was never able to make it. And then he started doing all his stuff with like Netflix and stuff, so he got really busy, and we actually lost contact, which makes me now remember that I actually should reach out. Is he still here? I don't think he's still in LA.
Yeah, Cuban, his wife, and G still in LA.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
and Kane should be there, but Kane is always like going out the country, still doing some stuff. So
because I don't think I've seen Kane and I haven't seen anything. I need to go look in. But yeah, the Poetry Lounge was awesome. They're allegedly going to be opening back up soon-ish, but I don't know how that is because we're still on lockdown. It's and our COVID cases are still pretty ridiculous, so everyone's kind of like quarantining. So whatever.
Yeah, we're on a 10:00 curfew right now. So
yeah. Oh yeah, it's not that bad. If they put LA on a curfew, I mean they tried, but
this same year.
If they put LA on like a curfew that they were enforcing, there would be a riot. So I mean,
bad.
People like you what? We can like they shut the bars down and people were protesting. Put the governor out of his seat. Like what?
Yeah. Like the craziest thing they did here is unless they change it, which I don't think they have yet. You're able to get to-go cocktails. So you can literally buy a cocktail.
Yes. So they in the mason jars. Yeah, you could just get like tacos with a to-go cocktail. I'm like, oh, so y'all just feeding people alcohol. Cool. I mean, but the restaurant said they got to make their coin somehow. So
yeah. Look, all is love. All is
Thank
love.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Latasha.
Well, that is all the questions I have for you. I am so thankful that you were here. And real quick, if you guys enjoyed this interview, I'm going to post up something real quick. If you guys enjoyed this interview or you came late, few things. Number one, if you want to find out all the other shows we're doing, the next Art Meets Life and the next Art to Heart, please follow me on Twitter and IG at ELJA Poetry. And if you want to replay this show, if you came in late, if you're on YouTube already, stay on this page, like, subscribe. You can replay this show along with all the other episodes of Art to Heart that we've done. I think this is number 8 so far.
Nice.
Yeah,
platform.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like the person we had before you, Pokemon. We had the original Ash Ketchum voice last month. So,
that's nice.
And then the crazy thing is, because we talked about him next month. We're featuring motivational speaker and spoken word artist Life next month on Art to Heart. So it's been a great run, and like the people that come on here, they're coming in for a reason to drop so many jewels, and I love it because y'all are inspiring y'all inspiring a lot of people. Like the love is endless, and then you've seen it, and like please keep doing what you're doing. If you guys are familiar with the website, online magazine Voyage LA, she just did a recent interview with them as well. So please check out. I got you. I'm plugging you. I
appreciate it. Yes. And then if you guys go to my Instagram, if you go to my IG page, I have a link in my bio, and it literally has all of my interviews and all of my all like anything that's been in the press and any music. And I'll actually send the link to LJ, and he can post it up under the video so you guys can click on it and see all this. So if you're interested and want to see what I have going on and the things I've been doing and all that good stuff. So it's there. I'll send it. It's all in one place.
All right.
And thank you so much, LJ. Again, I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm always honored when anyone wants to speak to me about like my journey, because sometimes I find myself very uninteresting. And I don't mean that like to speak down on myself. I just mean, when you're in it every day, all day, it's kind of like, well, this is just what I do. You know what I mean? And sometimes I have to definitely take a step back and remember like the days where I was like praying, to be able to do these things. And now I'm just like, I need a nap. It's like, these are the things you prayed for, Jennifer. I know, but I should have included a nap in my prayer. You got to be specific with these prayers. But, I appreciate the opportunity so much. And, you guys, when I say you guys, like you, Yogi, Cardi, you guys will always be so influential, or just an instrumental, in my path. I am so proud of you guys too, and the things that you guys are doing individually. And of course, I always want the best for you all, and just so much success, so much love. And thank you for holding space for me in your hearts and in your spaces, because that makes me feel so loved. And I am honored. Thank you for reaching out and asking me to be a part of your platform.
I appreciate you making the time. Like I said, because I don't know, but I know the work you're putting in and how busy you are, and I'm just thankful that we were able to make this happen.
Absolutely, and like when I finally write that song for Beyonce, like we'll talk about it. So I'll come back.
Oh, so definitely. I'll bring you back. I'll be
famous by then, but I'm coming back.
I got you. We throwing it out there.
Oh, it's coming. Absolutely. Like I'm working on that. Like I told my mom, I was like, I can't wait to call you. And she was like, absolutely, that's gonna happen. Like it's already happened. Like we're gonna write this song for her, and then write another song. We're gonna be in there with the queen.
That's all I got, guys. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning into this month's Art to Heart. So 2 things I always remember. Number 1, I can always say purpose over popularity. And number 2, because of the theme for the night, you can do anything. We love you guys. Please stay blessed, and please be safe. Make sure you pick up your trash when you leave these virtual seats. So that's all we got. Love y'all. Y'all take care, guys.
Bye, guys.